Hey everybody, it's Micah. This is going to be a short video. I'm really tired. Uh, my the back tire on my bike, the tube, is punctured. So, yet 2 days ago, I had to pump it up after I got to the station, and then when I got to school, I found that it was almost uh, all the way flat again. And then today, I found it flat at the station again, pumped it up, and before I could even get to the school, it was already flat. And when I thought maybe I could do that one more time, so I pumped it up at school, then tried to ride it back to the station as fast as I could before it went flat again, but I did not get very far before it was no longer rideable. So I was I took about 40 minutes to walk to the station. Then I had to wait another 20 minutes for the train, and then I had to take the train back home, which is another 40 minutes. And then I have to ride my bike from the station back to my house. That's another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I got home late, and I was hungry, and so I'm just tired from a long day. And I've been also working on kind of an idea for a big project for my company, which I will talk about a tiny little bit in this video. And I didn't have much time to work on it today, but while I was working on it, I was going full blast with that, so I was really tired after today. Uh, but what I want to really talk about is the book I've been reading called Win Bigly by Scott Adams. Here, I want to show the title if it's possible. I have this nifty tablet here that my wife got me, so I'm scrolling back to, good lord, scrolling back to the beginning, see if I can get the title page. Yes. So this is the title of the book, Win Bigly by Scott Adams. Let me see if I can get a little bit, if I can. Where's it open? There we go. Persuasion in a world where facts don't matter. Isn't that a very provocative title, wouldn't you say? So, let me see here. So, basically this, you can probably tell from the dog here. Let me see if I can get the focus again. You can see from the dog here that this probably has something to do with Donald Trump, and you'd be right. This is basically a book telling why Scott Adams was able to predict that Donald Trump would become president. He made a lot of public predictions about Trump, and in this book, he kind of records all the predictions he made and how many of them came true. Not all of them, but many of them did come true. And he says the reason he understood that things would happen the way they did is because he understood how to persuade people, and he understood that Donald Trump is what he calls a master persuader. And one of the things that Donald Trump does is he uses one of the very powerful tools that Donald Trump uses for persuasion is visual persuasion. He makes things visual. So it's something I've been thinking about a lot recently because I tend to not be, how can I say, I tend not to, I tend to be comfortable keeping ideas abstract rather than kind of bringing them into the real world. And so one, so he gives me some ideas on how I can improve my own thinking and also my own communication to persuade other people and to convince other people to help me and do things that I want them to do. Uh, so one of the examples that he uses that demonstrates Trump's mastery of visual persuasion is in the campaign slogans. Is it in the campaign slogans? Well, let's try a different one. First, we'll start with the first debate. In the first debate, you may remember that Megyn Kelly asked Donald Trump about all the nasty things that he said about women, and Donald Trump replied, "Only about Rosie O'Donnell," or something like that, and he got a lot of laughs from that, and that was when Scott Adams understood that Donald Trump was different from any other politician. But another way that he is visually persuasive is the wall, which is now becoming a much bigger topic. And the reason the wall is so persuasive is instead of talking about border security, which is kind of a vague, ill-defined term that can mean pretty much anything, a wall means a wall. People know what a wall looks like, and so they can kind of focus on that, and his repetition of build the wall and all that was meant to really make his ideas visual. Now, what Scott Adams says is that Trump is directionally good, but often he leaves out details on purpose because he doesn't really know what the right answer is, and he wants to leave room for negotiation. So, build the wall and Mexico will pay for it, of course, leaves out a lot of the details about what it means that Mexico pays for it and what is a wall really, right? And he, in the past, probably a year ago, I think he was probably testing the idea of not building a wall and just having like border security stuff, and Ann Coulter and other people in Trump's base did not like the sound of that. So I think that's one of the reasons why now he's really pushing for the wall, because I think he realizes that the people really wanted a physical barrier, and he needs to have that. He needs to keep that promise in the way that people kind of expected it, or else he's going to have a hard time in the future with getting votes. So it's very interesting to learn about visual persuasion, because after I learned about that, I decided to change something that I was doing. So I'm making a proposal for a large project for my company, and in the project, I have to kind of define the price of a short sound clip, maybe a 5-minute sound clip, and I have to decide what price it should be, what's a reasonable price for it, and how can I communicate what the price is like. One of the things that you do with another persuasion technique is association. So, for example, many people want to associate Trump with Hitler, and by doing that, make him seem like a bad guy. But you can also do the opposite. You can associate, you can bring positive feelings about something through association as well. So, what I decided to do was to price the 5-minute sound clips on the the kind of common cup of coffee scale, and not really an expensive cup of coffee, like a cheap but good, high value cup of coffee. And I'm hoping that, along with some other persuasion techniques that I'm learning from Scott Adams' book, that I'll be able to convince my company to take on the large project. But I'm already learning interesting things that I can use in real life with this book, so it's very useful and interesting to me. So I'll continue to give more thoughts on what I learned from the book in the future. But I just want to make this is probably not very short. It looks like 12 minutes, so this is short. This is short for me. So I think I'll leave it there for today. So that's it for me right now, and I'll talk to you later.